Maybe you've caught a glimpse of it driving down I-94 near the Wisconsin-Illinois border, just a wing or a cockpit. Tough to get a look at while you're driving 70 miles per hour. But if you get off at Russell Road on the Illinois side, you'll see an impressive collection of military history. CBS 58's Mike Kirchhoff tours the Russell Military Museum.
This view is much better. Skydrone 58 shows what you can't see from the interstate. 200-plus fighter jets, helicopters, tanks, and other military vehicles at the Russell Military Museum. 15 acres of U.S. military history.
It's special because we're privately owned and operated. There are larger ones, but they're all government installations. Wright-Patterson, the National Air Force Museum, just an incredible collection. But they have a $25 million a year budget from Uncle Sam. So we kind of do it on a shoestring budget. As far as private museums, we have the widest collection. Most of them focus on tanks or on airplanes or on helicopters, and we kind of have a little bit of everything for you to see.
Kyle Sunday is the museum's VP.
It's my father's personal collection that's turned into a museum. We've been a registered museum since 1989. He's been collecting the stuff since the late 70s as a hobby.
It's a hobby a little different than model airplanes, but then not so different when you think about how the Sundays get these things to Russell.
When the government gets rid of it and says we buy it for the museum, it's as is, where is, so we travel and go and find it and bring it home.
You took this apart and you put it back together.
Correct. If you go on our Facebook site, there's pictures of us taking it apart. We took off the engines, we took off the tail, we took off the wing, we broke the wing into 2 separate pieces. It took us 14 days to disassemble it down in Arizona.
They put the pieces on a truck, drive it back to the museum, and put it back together.
This is an A7 Corsair 2. This is the latest airplane for the museum. It came out of Chanute Air Museum in Rantoul, Illinois. Haven't even finished putting it all the way back together. This is going to be our spring project to finish.
When you first walk into the museum, the warehouse runs through military history in chronological order.
Got 2 Harley Davidsons. That's a 1942 in the box, 1943. We got an M5 Stuart tank. These were actually built in Racine for a while.
And these things all run right now?
Everything inside here runs. A number of the vehicles outside run. Our Sherman tank, we try to fire it up once a year. We crush cars with it over the summer. Everything on site is real military hardware, real military equipment. A number of the vehicles have seen battle, but everything here is authentic military equipment. You'll be blown away by the scope and scale of what we have here.
The museum opens for the season tomorrow, April 2nd. It's $10 for adults and $5 for kids. Kyle will give a ride in a tank for another $15. It's a 115 armored personnel carrier.
The driver sits in the front position up there. And we put like the birthday party kid or whoever in the commander seat, and then this big square hatch on the top folds open. We set everybody up on the top of it.
Kyle's father served in the Air National Guard. Kyle himself didn't serve, but he served his dad at this museum since he was 8.
It's a family business. I've been cutting the lawn at this place since I was 8 years old, turning wrenches on military vehicles. I've swapped tank engines. I've taken apart airplanes. I've taken apart helicopters.
He knows the machines inside and out and knows their stories, too.
So this is a World War II Higgins boat, like they used in Saving Private Ryan. This particular boat was a 3-conflict boat. Over here, this is a U-9 Aero Commander 500. Not this particular airplane, but this model airplane was the first Air Force One. This is a M110 Howitzer self-propelled gun. This is the one I talked about, a volunteer. His name's Jim Huber. Works for the railroad, actually. He drove one of these in Vietnam. He came out and helped us restore it, so he stenciled it up with his unit and his name on it and everything like that.
The collection and the stories behind them, including how they get to this yard, make the Russell Military Museum one of a kind.
Any number of vehicles that could be considered a centerpiece for a normal museum, from the Sherman tank to the landing craft to our A-10 Warthog, F-15, F-16, number of very unique pieces that you won't find anywhere else.